Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We are back with another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, and this is an interview edition with the man behind one of the best snacking brands out there over in the UK, and this is Andrew from Novo Nutrition.
Good evening, Shane.
Hey, so basically, you know, being a UK brand and our audience is primarily American, do you want to give just a brief introduction on, when Novo started, where it started, what it does, what kind of products it has?
Yeah, we started somewhere around 6.5 to 7 years ago, and the whole intention was to deliver functional protein to average day people. That was 7 years ago, and we first started off with, which was the world's first protein crisp, that we called Protein Bites, which was an extruded product, which did very well because it was the first of its type. There was nobody else that's got a protein chip at that time. And of course, other companies have followed. We then evolved into protein cereals, high protein cereals, very low sugar, high protein cereals, which did very well. And then as the market has changed, we've had to sort of lean into the future and see about what do people want as in the general public as opposed to just sports nutrition people. And I think that's where we seek to differentiate ourselves from a lot of sort of protein brands that, in my opinion, have ridden on the back of the 20-gram protein ticket for way too many years.
Yeah,
That's not its role. I'm just saying it's a very small minority that will look for that.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys have quite an extensive range of products. You have the chips, you had the cereal, which, as far as I remember, was one of the first, if not the first, cereal. And there's quite a few more popping up now, actually, from a variety of new brands. But I want to get into. So recently, you guys actually launched in WH Smith, which is a huge retail chain in the UK.
Yes.
And so, do you want to go into a bit more detail about that? Because the launch it's really big. The position you guys have in the retail on the shelf space and the price points is very competitive with your typical sugar snacks and sugar treats, which is not really an approach I've seen any other brand take before.
No, you've got to be fairly bold to do stuff like that. I mean, the rationale is actually fairly logical if you think about it. I would imagine something less than 10% of the population that walks into any store like that is prepared to pay above £2 to £2.50 for an impulse snack. That's that. So you're alienating 90% of your population anywhere there. So then you've got the 10% of people that would upsell from conventional confectionery to a healthier alternative to £2.25 to £2.50, to which, there are companies out there making good sales, 60, 70 million pound turnovers in the UK. But I would imagine the total turnover in the UK for something like a 20-gram protein bar in FDM food channels is around to the tune of around 300 million tops. Okay.
Wow.
Now, if you look at the true data, the UK snacking market is 18.4 billion, right? And 45% of those people look to snack healthier. The problem with that is they don't have options to snack with because of one obvious thing, which is the price point. So you've got to disrupt that market and make things affordable. The other thing that we've worked very extensively on is having a variety of products for all the family. And I do not believe, I'm not disrespecting any brands, lots of different flavors of bars is not a variety. That's an assortment of flavors. You're not going to get different demographics of people. So our range goes from effectively the first protein Kit Kat, which is 12 times less sugar Kit Kat. We call it a protein break, It's gluten-free. It's got protein in. That's retailing between 59 pence in dollars terms, 74 cents dollars, up to 80 cents dollars as an impulse purchase, which is not far off what a standard Kit Kat is.
Yeah.
We also have a protein wafer, which is our competition on that wafer is Power Crunch, although they're not in UK or European retail. And again, that's priced very competitively. Currently on sale at £1.19. So US dollar wise, that'll be on sale at somewhere around $1.45 as an impulse. And then we've got a 20-gram Easy Bar, which we try to simulate confectionery in protein. So one of them tastes particularly like a Mars bar.
Yeah.
And we retail that currently on sale at £1.69. So we're at £1.69, and a well-known competitor of ours is on sale at £2.29. So you've got quite a big gap there.
Yeah, I as I was saying, like it is a huge step to be taking on the mainstream snacks, I guess, and offering consumers that price point on to match for sugary snacks, not so healthy snacks, rather than what most brands do, and they just go after the competition and price based on what they are. And so you've very clearly taken that the creative approach, the unique approach, the game changing approach as such. Do you think it would? Because obviously, I mean, I think it's great, the idea of having sugar-free, zero-calorie, or not zero-calorie, just low-calorie, high-protein snacks on the shelf next to candy bars is probably the dream scenario. But do you think one brand is going to be able to do it? Do you think it'll take others to do it with you, or do you think it's a change that you can make in retailers and stores by yourself?
I think it's going to be very challenging for other brands to do it because they're effectively losing their brand DNA. So if, for example, well-known brands in the UK, they're based around a 20-gram protein bar. They can't then go out and say, okay, we're going to launch 10 or 12-gram protein bar, because that's going to completely diminish their 20-gram bar market. Yeah. So they're just not going to do it. They're just commercially not going to do it. And there's very few independent companies still left in the UK. Even in America, they're known by conglomerates that the accountants will not let them do it. Yeah. So it's something that we've got to pioneer, or other brands will have to try to pioneer. Yeah. And if you're not into snacking now, you've missed the boat.
Okay, yeah.
You've missed the boat, right? You just have, because an average retailer is getting 2 to 3 emails per day from protein companies. 2 to 3 emails per day. And the issue with the retailers is that the buyers invariably, they buy on data.
Yeah.
So they'll say, okay, what's the best selling protein product for the last 16 weeks? We'll list that. And that isn't necessarily what their customer wants. Yeah. If you were to say to a typical buyer, if they're not just a mechanical buyer, okay, would you want your customers to be able to afford something more and it be more acceptable in terms of the price pocket? They're going to say yes. I mean, no buyer's going to say, no, we want our consumers to pay more money. They're going to say yes. So you need a visionary buyer as well to understand, which we do have to do. They're very supportive in that, £4, WS store, who's going to walk in and spend £2.50 per bar?
Yeah.
So you have to have the support of the buyers, and we are at those prices because we've subsidised it, but also the retailer has massively subsidised it because they truly believe that the upsell from confectionery to healthy snacking is just too big a gap. So it's a joint venture between us and WSMS.
Yeah, I think So I mean, that is a very good point. The older brands just probably aren't able to make that change to compete at the level that you're trying to attack, and then the newcomers will find it hard to get into the position you're in because they don't have the track record. So it is a very unique situation. What do you think it would take? Like, I've been to some countries in Europe, and I've told you this before, where
yes,
they have like that. In Sweden is one of my favorite ones, and I think Norway was a bit as well, where you would have just the protein bars side by side, multiple brands beside candy bars, and you'd go to the drink section, and you'd have 0-calorie carbonated amino drinks beside traditional sodas, and that's a huge thing, and that thing still blows me away to be able to go to any store and have those options and see those options, and they're obviously very popular options for these retailers and stockers to do that, especially the amount of them that do. So what do you think it would take, or do you think it's even possible to get UK retailers to do something on that scale, to be, to make it a tradition, or to make it normal to have a variety of protein snacks and healthy snacks and functional foods and 0-calorie drinks? Have that bigger presence, have that bigger shelf space, because the shelf space will obviously give them the attention that they need.
Unquestionably, it's going to happen. I mean, the reason why it's happened in the Scandinavian countries is that the buyers, they don't necessarily put healthy snacks just in the healthy section. So
Yes,
they put it beside the confectionery. And therefore, and of course, they've got higher GDP. So people can upsell from a conventional Mars bar, which they do. The data shows you, as I told you before, that people buy more functional snacks and drinks than they do conventional Mars bars or Coca-Cola in those Northern European countries. The issue that you've got in the UK is that, albeit the UK retailers are quite advanced, they are, it's fair to say, suffering from the discounters.
Yeah.
So on that note, you've got buyers that are very conscientious of protecting their jobs. So they're buying on data.
Yeah.
And they're currently, they were all sold this dream that protein is going to be massive. And so what's happened is UK retailers, and retailers all over the world, by the way, this is happening, especially in the Middle East, they had an influx of brands. They stick them on the shelves. They put them in the pharmacy section or some healthy section that nobody goes to, and they wonder why the turns aren't big enough.
Yeah.
They wonder why it's not selling. And there's been a couple of very successful brands in the UK, and I have massive respect for them. But those days are numbered, because unless you get a product that's categorized with conventional snacking, you're always going to be in minority range.
Yeah.
You can see what's happening in Northern European, the Scandinavian countries, which is very evident with the turns, as in healthy snacks and functional drinks being sold at a greater rate than conventional confectionery. I believe that's going to happen. We haven't even scratched the surface in the UK.
Yeah.
Scratched the surface of the potential in the UK. As soon as you get confectionery buyers, not healthy snacking buyers, confectionery buyers, picking something up and saying, do you know what, we'll give that a shot. But they're only going to do that if they think they're going to get the turns.
Yeah.
They're never going to get the turns ever at the current price rate of a current protein bar of £2.50 to £3. That's just insane to think that you can walk down a Sainsbury's or a Tesco's, and right next to a Snickers bar at 79 pence, there's a protein bar at £2.75, and somebody's going to think, oh, look at that fantastic offer, I'm going to pick it up. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
70% of all impulses happen at the point of impulse. In other words, they are not conscious of the purchase before they do the purchase. It happens near the till. So that's why Mars, Mondelez, and the Nestles of this world, they all focus at that till point. So if they want you to brand switch, it's price. It's price and offer. If you go to any major retailer chain, even in the States, it's all impulsive, it's all on offer.
Yeah.
You never get something I always use the analogy, it's a very simple analogy, of at the point of impulse, it's an auxiliary purchase. It's an extra purchase to accompany what you've gone into the store to buy.
Yeah.
Currently, protein companies are almost doing this, but not to this extent. They're expecting people to go in to buy a shirt, for example, in the clothes shop.
Yeah.
And next to the till, there's a full suit. I mean, they're expecting people at the point of impulse at the end to buy a bigger purchase than what they went in the store for. Now, anybody who thinks I'm wrong there, please tell me that I'm wrong. But, when you buy, say, something in a store and it's something near the till, it's always cheaper than your first purchase.
Yeah.
It's always cheap because, I'll have that. It's not much money. Now, so people buy with their eyes, but at the end of the day, people pay with their pockets.
Yeah.
Never going to get that traction if it's not affordable. Just data, fact.
Do you think it's probably going to be just a matter of time, and I guess persistence from people like yourself and buyers and retailers and other companies that come along that will kind of push the market in that direction? Or do you think the extent of just having an odd snack bar and an odd bar there and that's kind of the extent of it? Or do you think it can go further if it keeps getting pushed? Or is it just, yeah?
It's unquestionably going to go further, and it's going to go further with lots of different ways because the retailers are under pressure, especially sugar, to reduce down the sugar products next to the tills. And then from the other side of it, you've got the confectionery companies that, in order to defend themselves against the attack of sugar, they're going to be going on the acquisition of healthy snacking companies. Yeah. So under their umbrella brands, such as Hershey, and other brands, they'll be putting healthy snacking brands right next to their high sugar brands, so they're getting the best of both worlds. And when those people start to put it down their channels, that's when the major retailers will start to listen.
Interesting.
It will happen.
It will happen. Inevitably, you think?
I think it's going to happen much faster than you think. I mean, we can show data very shortly in W.H. Smith's to show that the amount of people that pick up one of our competitor bars, 30% of those that pick them up, put them back when they get to the till. 30% of people who pick up a conventional protein bar, when they get to a W.H. Smith till, when they ring it through the till, put it back.
That's an impressive number.
It's a massive number, right? It's a massive number. And when you do the research and you talk to store managers, and the chocolate eaters, most people love chocolate. Why, do they sell well, these products? No. Why do they not sell well? They're too expensive.
Yeah.
It's the same feedback from every single store manager. And when we've got field staff at the stores talking to store managers on a weekly basis, educating them, listen, actually, it's not that expensive now to eat healthy. And before you know it, the store staff, their customers, the store staff are selling their friends, their customers. And when people walk into a store, they're your soldiers, right? They're your people in the shop. And this is what the big brands don't do. They don't engage with the people that really matter, which is the people on the shop floor. So if somebody walks in and says, okay, there's this thing, they put it back, it's £2.49 or £2.29. Well, actually, we do have just as good a product. And this here it is, and it's 69 pence, or it's £1.10, or it's £1.69. Interesting. I was in a well-known coffee shop this weekend. Well-known coffee shop. I'll just leave it at that. And I was behind somebody, and he picked up a protein bar. And I said to him, excuse me, what's that? And I'm like Shane, I'll talk to anybody, right? Yeah. So he said, it's a protein bar. So I said, why are you buying it? And he says, I'm buying it because it's the protein and low sugar. So I said, does it taste nice? And he said, I've never bought it before. I'm just trying it. And I said to him, and I knew how much that bar was.
Yeah.
So I said to him, and how much is it? He said, it's £1.49. And actually, the Kind bar sticker was underneath the protein bars.
Oh, wow.
I said to him, I think you better just check that price. It's not £49. He looked at the price and he saw the true price. It took him about half a second to put it straight back on the shelf. He looked at me in the face and says, there's no way I'm paying that for a snack.
Yeah.
And that's what Novo's all about. When I joke to you about delivering happiness,
Yeah.
I always have this joke. Novo's about delivering happiness. It's delivering happiness through taste, making people healthy, and they can afford it. And that's a key thing. So the jury's still out. You know, there's lots of people making an awful lot of turns on 20-gram protein bars. But I think if you look at that in comparison to the 18.4 billion UK confectionery market, it is not even scratching the surface. But
Interesting.
Good money. They're all happy, right?
Yeah.
The buyer's happy, everyone's happy, but it's less than 7 to 8%.
Yeah, I think you guys. I think you've put it on. You've done a good job in the UK to get the wheel rolling, to get the ball going, to get to be on that shelf next to those confectionery brands, those candy bars. It's a huge feat because it's just not something you see. Even when I was in the UK, you do see them, but you just don't really see them in a wide range like that. So it's and at those prices, and I think the prices is probably the most important part, because as you say, while I might be happy paying £2, £3 for a protein bar, someone who's going from a candy bar that's less than £1 and wants to try a protein snack, they may not be willing to pay triple the price, double the price.
Well, I'll also give you a very simple analogy to your listeners. You know, a protein snack is a snack.
Yeah.
It's not part of your staple diet. Okay? You're buying it on the go. So let's say you and I, Shane, we went into a petrol forecourt and we got some diesel or some gasoline, and we went into the store and there's several snacks there. We're not buying it as part of a staple diet, and the average person doesn't care about 20 grams. Forget that 20 grams. That's born from a protein shake and sports nutrition. They're buying the word protein. I'll ask you this question, Shane. Me and you walk into a petrol station, we'll get a coffee, and there's a protein bar there, or a snack at £2.50, and there's one at £1.50. I don't care how much money you've got, right? Which one are you going to pick up?
Yeah. The thing is that I'm tainted though. I know all the brands, so I know how they taste.
Well, that's also going back to the taste. That's a very big obstacle.
It is.
Actually.
That is also a very big thing, because for years it was always, and even with me, it's like, I need something on the go, protein bar. It's like, they don't taste that great. And you'll just get it because it's the only thing you had for on the go. Whereas now you have to kind of fight away and beat away all that reputation that protein bars are doughy and made of rock and taste like shit. You have to beat away at that, and and for those people that kind of may have jumped ship from candy bars to protein snacks that one time, and were like, oh god, this is what it takes to be healthy. You have to reintroduce them. There's a new age of snacks, and so it's an uphill battle. It is
a huge uphill battle. But that being said, we had a wave, and I'll mention the brands, for example. Maximuscle. Okay, I actually did the design work for Zephyr Maximuscle, and believe it or not, when Zeph approached us because that's my background, branding strategy. He said to me, "We need to change our look. We need to change our look. How do we change our look?" And he pitched it to 3 London agencies. He pitched it to us. So the London agencies, went in with all the flashy mood boards and all this stuff. And I went in with an interesting, as you can imagine.
I already know what you probably would have said.
Well, I went in with a very big rock. I went in. I've told you the story. I went in with a big stone. I went in with a huge stone, and I asked him if he had a towel to put on his boardroom table. And he said, "Why do you want a towel to put on a boardroom table?" So just put a towel on your boardroom table. And I put this big rock right on his boardroom table. And I said, "Well, that's what you look like now. Well, that's you. That's you." And he looked at me all puzzled. And the brief was, we want to be more. We want to sell more to our British people. This is going back 20 years now. So I then picked up out the other bag some pebbles, some nice pebbles, smooth pebbles. And I said, right, and this was the CEO. He was called Zeph from Maxi Muscle. I said, "Zeph, they're both made out of the same thing." Right?
Very nice.
How you position it. One you would have in your house, typical, no offense to your listeners, steroid look, big biceps, maxi muscle, that terminology. Another one's a nice pebble that you'd have in your kitchen. Parents wouldn't feel alienated by it, right? And that's when Maxi Muscle completely changed its view. But what it didn't do was it didn't think, do you know what, this has got to taste nice too. Mm. So then they sold the brand to Glaxo, right? And Glaxo stuck it everywhere all around the UK. It was on every single till point in the UK. And excuse my language, they completely fucked it up. They gave the most disgusting possible bar to any person. Single till point. And that people off protein bars in the UK. Just because it's protein doesn't mean people want to eat it.
Yeah.
It's got to taste nice. So you can turn people on taste by sampling, but I still believe that protein bars are quite a way off. I respect the bar that you like, massively. I do respect, I'll openly say this, I do respect barbells.
Yeah, they're insanely good.
I think that's a great bar, right? I don't really respect any other ones. No, I don't. And I'll tell you what, and that's quite a shame, because when I've gone into the stores and I've spoken to buyers, okay, and we've given the store managers and the buyers and these multiples samples of Novo, they're phoning us up every 2 weeks. Says, "Can you send us some more of those Novo bars?"
Yeah.
Because the bars that we've got on our shelf, to be honest, the taste like shit.
Yeah.
So, barbells is a great bar. Barbells is the benchmark. We've got a couple of bars competing against barbells, but in terms of offering, I think it's a bold statement to make, but we've got a better mass offering than barbells.
Yeah, they have. I will say that barbells just do a dynamite job in the countries that they have presence in. They don't want to be just in that health section. They have a presence and their branding. They do have, I will say, in Sweden, their variety is second to none. They have a smaller bar in Sweden. They have the core bar, and that's I'm pretty sure it's a sub 15 gram. I can't remember exactly. That's a smaller one, and that's sold right alongside their main one. Then you have their ice cream, which is in its own little freezer. Then you have their ice pops from Nocco. So in Sweden, it is literally the dream snacking brand. But obviously, to carry that presence throughout the world is next to impossible. But that, those guys have done an incredible job, and I would say they are the benchmark. Their bar just keeps getting better flavors, and they're introducing a variety of products. It's
also the eating experience in the mouth. You want to feel as though you don't want to be chewing on something for that long.
The more you balance.
They've got a good balance.
Very good balance.
Ours have got a good balance. It's quite interesting to your American listeners. It's almost a joke that the leading bars in Canada, right, are Barbells, Novo, and Grenade. Right? I mean,
that's all Europeans.
In Canada, America's down its doorstep. You've got the 3 leading flavour brands are European.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So that's where it's going. But that goes back to the complacency. If you're doing a lot of turns, doing a lot of volume, you're quite happy with your taste. You don't want to rock the boat too much. But there's been some very, very big brands. And, look at Quest. Massive company. Did a great job. They led the way on low sugar protein bars. They trashed at the time. If you look at their social media when they first started, they had a dustbin and it was full of protein bars and it was full of high sugar, and they had another bin. It says Quest. Look at their social media. They led the way and they did a fantastic job in selling what was a pretty shitty tasting bar. Right? Yeah, it is. I mean, what a great idea. I'll tell you what, our bar is so hard. Why don't we stick it in the microwave and make muffins out of it? So, it's just true, right?
So, how about we've talked a lot about the market where you guys are. So, what's the next move for you? Like, what? I know you're always working on something. I know you have something up your sleeve. Yeah. If it's not tweaking something, you're creating something. What's next for Novo aside from the WHS and the retail market and the snacking game? Like product wise, what can we look forward to seeing from Novo in the coming months or year?
I think we've got to be very careful that we don't spread ourselves too thin on ranging.
Yep.
And that's the big mistake that some companies do, because if anything, I think you've said it yourself, Shane, if you taste a Novo product, you know it's going to taste nice. What you don't want is to launch something and it be okay.
Yeah.
Because if your consumer picks that up the first time and it's just okay, they're going to think, oh, your rest is just okay. So we're just going to stabilize it for 6 months. But, we are certainly going low on protein. That's what I'll say. We are going to go low. Lower than some of the brands that you've talked about. Much lower.
I have seen quite a few. I would say the protein break is probably the lowest I've seen in terms of snacking. It's kind of got that good balance. Like, it's one of the ones that's probably the lowest. You have a few others out there. None have. The other thing is that is kind of misleading or like tricky with the protein break is that it's a small bar. Like, you sometimes just look at the bar, just look at the protein and be like, oh, it's not that much. But in the grand scheme of things, if you compare the weight of that to a full-size 20-gram bar, you could probably get away, and the protein isn't that bad compared to the size. Yes. So you've done a good job at creating something with that one. So I look forward to...
I think the wafers, we're going to be expanding the wafers heavily.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got several new flavors of wafers coming out. Again, that's an interesting product because it just shows the difference between sugar levels and taste. So, our wafers are 4 to 5 grams of sugar, but you won't believe how many wafers we sell every month. Okay. So that shows you the point that taste is very, very important.
Oh, yeah. It is.
I mean, 70% of people who buy Quest, 72% of people who buy Fulfill, great brand Fulfill. One brand over 70%, they are women. So therefore, if your brand doesn't look asexual and suitable for a woman, you're instantly alienating a very large majority of people. So the eating experience is very important. So I think what Novo's looking to do is What we have done is we've got a range of affordable products for all the family. So yourself may like the break, and Nikki may like the wafer, and your father may like the easy bar. So then you've got to choose right to cross sell across the whole family. In terms of the protein, in terms of the protein market, the protein tub market, that's just been decimated with price now. Decimated with price. And distributors are going to find it very, very challenging. Very, very challenging when people like Hershey and, the Nestles of this world start to put down snacking brands down their channels, where you can, you look at the countries in question, Sweden, Norway, okay? Those are sold direct to the retailer. There is no sports nutrition distributor involved. Therefore, the customer can get it at a more affordable price. The retailer can make more margin. It's a very different demographic.
Yeah.
So when you then get healthy snacks in convenience stores, petrol stations, that's not the market for a sports nutrition distributor. That's true FDM distributors. So I think it's going to be very challenging for sports nutrition distributors. The more accessible snacking goes into mainstream. Very, very challenging on price.
Well, as always, it's been tremendously great to talk to you. We'll definitely have to get you on for another episode in the future, but thank you for sitting with us and talking through, and look forward to having you on again.
Yeah, pleasure, Shane.